Hey, this is the Nature Boy Ric Flair. And believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it, because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
Celebrating 9 years of podcast excellence, the King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents the Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us. So I literally just did my other Wrestling is Real podcast like 30 minutes ago, recapping Bound for Glory. But this episode, I'm going to go ahead and recap WWE's Extreme Rules. It's just the way the schedule worked. I had a chance to watch Bound for Glory on Friday, part of it, and then I caught the second half of it, the two title matches, the last hour of Bound for Glory. I caught that before I watched Extreme Rules tonight. Anyway, you're not here to hear about that. You're here to talk about Bray Wyatt. I know that's what you want to hear me to talk about. Bray Wyatt comes back with an epic rock star type return. This was presented about as good as you could possibly get. Now, let's just break down a few things. So with Bray Wyatt coming out, the White Rabbit thing was a nice ploy to get people interested. Philadelphia was the right crowd to get in front of if you're going to present Bray Wyatt and bring him back. Because that's what everybody's talking about right now, the last 5 minutes of the show. Not anything on the card. It was this return that's going to be the talk of Extreme Rules. You have the notability of giving a tribute to basically all the main characters in the Firefly Funhouse. The Funhouse is gone. All that cartoony animated stuff that we were watching is done. And the Fiend character is no longer in play. It looks like Bray Wyatt is back more like his Eater of Worlds persona, or Eater of Worlds persona, not so much the Louisiana thing with the rocking chair, but he's back. He's got his lantern, and the whole setup of him coming back, you could have done a better job of bringing him back. That's the best return of the year, best return of the last 5 years. That crowd popped incessantly. Biggest pop of the night for Bray Wyatt. Biggest moment of the night. And this is going to be something that Triple H can put in his cap right there. And that's one of his signature moments in his run in creative. And by the way, we talked about on Wednesday the new long-term creative director, Rob Fee, who I read about was in Philadelphia tonight to undergo the things that were going on with Bray Wyatt. If you wanted to bring him back and make him special, make him a big deal again, make him a main eventer, because he had been here near the main event, or he had been in the main event. They needed this so badly. Like, WWE really needed this debut more than anything else. You know what? You can take the debuts of the returns of Legado del Fantasma, which was nice. You want to give me you want to give me that? You want to give me Candice LeRae, Johnny Gargano making their way onto the main roster? I'll take a Bray Wyatt debut like this over all those people that have come on before. Even Karrion Kross. I mean it. Bray Wyatt has major market value. He is merch personified. He's a draw. You knew that crowd was so in touch. Everybody had their camera lights on. Fireflies aplenty. Everyone was ready. It was a rock star debut. A return for him. That's something like you do with a big rock star. Any big act on a concert. This was it. And when Bray Wyatt came out with the lantern, and then he took the mask off and it was him, the crowd just lost it. The roof at the Wells Fargo Center blew off. It was incredible. I mean, just to see that, and then watching the clips back again on TikTok or on Twitter, and just looking at it again. I mean, it just stood out so much. Bray Wyatt, you can't put him into the mix with Roman Reigns. Not right now. We can't be doing that. But Bray Wyatt has to come in somewhere, some way into the mix. I don't know with who. I don't know where. But there's plenty of people I'd like to see him go up against. Like, honestly, whenever Cody Rhodes comes back, I want Cody and Bray to take on each other. I would love that. I would really love that feud. And then it's a matter of this return. They did a pretty good job of taking away the stigma, all that negative feeling that we had of the Fiend anyway, because of what they did with him and the way they used him in his matches. Plus, that's the other thing we got to worry about too. What about his matches? Because we know that for the longest time, Bray Wyatt has always lost a lot of matches more than he won, except for the time he did win the title. Otherwise, they never booked him good in ring. Because the promos and then the presentation preceded everything else. I just don't know what you do. But maybe Bray Wyatt's not going to be so supernatural. I don't know what we're going to get. But I'm excited about it. And is it going to be something we're going to see more on SmackDown and Raw? Like, if Bray Wyatt pops a rating tomorrow for the season's premiere, look, they got D-Generation next tomorrow. I don't think it's going to make much of a dent at all. Like, is anything that happened from Extreme Rules last night going to pop that rating to where the audience is going to come back up to about 1.7, 1.8 million viewers overall, average, for all 3 hours? No. Can Bray Wyatt do it? I don't know. But I think what you got to do with Bray Wyatt is you incorporate him, you bring him back in. You don't necessarily have to put him back on camera right away. You could just have vignettes going on, leading up to him. And then you don't bring him in for a match right away. You don't bring him in for a feud right away. You just work your way through. And then you find what you're going to do to bring this character back up to life. Like, is he going to be by himself this time? Is he going to be accompanied by a faction? I mean, we don't need another Alexa Bliss to be a part of this. But do we see another Wyatt family come together? Or will it just be him? I don't know. But there's so many questions you can ask. The bottom line is, if we're just looking at tonight, just that right there was worth the pay-per-view. That moment right there was worth it all. Like, if you missed if you wrapped up and you stopped watching after the Fight Pit match, you missed it. Because that was the winning moment. That was the shining moment of the entire night that stood out. That was great. It was grand. And, it's something that gives me hope. It gives me hope that Triple H can pull some things that are going to be main event epic. Because this character, Bray Wyatt, there's so much invested in him that he is one of those stars that came out at the same time as The Shield that will stand out and is such a big star. There's no reason why he couldn't be billed as big as Roman Reigns. In a short amount of time, as a matter of fact. I mean, look at it like this. If you had Bray Wyatt and some way they were able to go and split those belts, and Bray Wyatt was either champion, say Roman's still Universal, and Bray's WWE champion, and you have Bray, for instance, being the lead top star on Raw. Imagine. We don't even know if he's going to be a face or heel yet, but there's a lot of time left in Bray Wyatt's career. There's a lot left to accomplish. And because of the fact that Vince McMahon could not see the vision, that's another story. But here, it's been a long time missing. There's a lot can be done here. A lot that can be done. I just don't know what you do. I said it before, when Braun Strowman came back, we could always do something where Bray and Braun, because of their history, could always take on each other. Starting off with that. I don't know where you go with it next, because there's just a lot of people that obviously he hasn't taken on of this new roster. But we have to see what they're going to do. And we'll have time to figure out where Bray Wyatt fits into this whole picture now. But having him now creates momentum for the rest of the offseason. They need to run with this now for the next 3 months. From now until day one, they need to make Bray Wyatt very important front and center as much as they can and restore this character by day one, the day one pay-per-view. By then, he should be at a point where you can then build him up to the matches. Like, honestly, we don't even need to see him wrestle right now. But you want to have him featured and do things, but you hold that guy off for matches. Honestly, Bray Wyatt should work an MJF schedule, where MJF doesn't work that many matches. Bray Wyatt needs to be a special attraction that gets to come out. And the truth is, more than anything, this is Triple H's chance to make Bray Wyatt his Undertaker. What Undertaker was to Vince McMahon, Bray Wyatt can be to Triple H. He needs this larger-than-life character. This rock star right here that he has in front of himself. You brought him back with such pomp, with such fanfare, with such an epic way. You have to keep that up. So go get Jeremy Borash, start doing some vignettes wherever he's at, start building this back up again. And eventually, you find who is the next opponent's going to be and whoever he's going to start, going after. Let's figure that out. I'm very happy. I'm very happy the Fiend character looks like it's gone. So we're getting another reincarnation of Bray Wyatt. His third. This is good. I could get used to this. And I wasn't one of those people that was completely sour on the Firefly Funhouse and all. That was fine. But his matches as the Fiend, they sucked. They were not that good. And it's unfortunate because, everybody wanted to get behind Bray Wyatt and see if this character would pan out right. There's a chance to do this now. Triple H is going to have to be. Look, and other people have screwed him up. It's something that AEW never got a chance to get him. Better off because AEW wouldn't have had the time that would be necessary. At this time right now, Bray Wyatt's return is opportune. Extremely opportune. It's the best time possible for him. No Vince involvement. He's got, Triple H obviously has some pieces now to go ahead and put together where Bray Wyatt can be intertwined and brought in very big. They need to build him up just like the Bloodline is built up. That should be main storyline A, main storyline B. Bray Wyatt needs to be at that level. There's just no question to me about that. If you want this company to get back up to that main event level, you need Bray Wyatt to become main event, top star, synonymous with everybody and everything. That has to happen. It's very important for this company to do that. Let's go into the matches right now. And like I said, we'll talk more about Bray Wyatt on Wednesday. We'll go with that. But there's a whole lot more to talk about because I already did Bound for Glory. I did 30 minutes of that. You can catch the post show right now, WrestlingIsReal.com, just like you'll catch this show. Let's go through the card. Brawling Brutes over Imperium, Sheamus, Rich Holland, Butch over Gunther, Ludwig Kaiser, Giovanni Vinci. This was good. And, I will say one of the major things that was done right is that, you need to take advantage of Sheamus now with a new lease on life now that he is over again, because the Brawling Brutes are now over. Sheamus is so over now again. He is so respected now, so legitimate now. You need to put him back into the mix. I don't know if you take the belt off of Gunther, but Sheamus should be going after Roman Reigns. He should. Why not? If Brawling Brutes had to deal with Bloodline, I think you could definitely go that route. It wouldn't faze me one bit if we did that. I think Sheamus is that big a deal. Let's go there. Something. We should see something with that. And I think because his star is rising so good, along with the way this match was, because Gunther and Sheamus really helped to build up their cohorts. Like Holland and Butch get a big bump off of this. Kaiser and Vinci get a big bump off of this as well. I've enjoyed the whole feud they've had. It's been really fun, but Gunther and Sheamus, they had another good match on SmackDown Friday night. They decided to do the same thing where Gunther gets the win. It's unfortunate, but I'd like to see where Sheamus gets something out of this here. I don't know, something. But it's a great feud that they had together. Second match of the night, Ronda Rousey over Liv Morgan. Technical submission. What was a sloppy finish to the Extreme Rules match for them. SmackDown Women's title. Look, man. Liv was given the shot, but I'll tell you what. She wasn't going to pan out to be like that star that's going to be holding that belt for a long time. She held the belt for a considerable amount of time. She did very well during her run. But crashed and burned on this match. Extreme Rules match might have been a little bit too much for her to do. A little bit overwhelming. Did a decent job of recovering. But she struggled when a couple things didn't go right in the match. Namely, the chair that was supposed to stay wedged in the corner. And then the submissions, which led to Ronda Rousey submitting her. And the face that she put together, kind of a half smile as she's fading out and losing to Ronda Rousey in the match. It didn't look right. And I felt bad for Liv, but something happened here just did not go out right. Very bad finish, the right result anyway. Ronda getting back the belt is good. And you could go a lot of different routes with her. I mean, especially when you're going into Crown Jewel. I guess we'll have a rematch with those two anyway. But Ronda Rousey will go out to Saudi Arabia herself, maybe. I don't know if they're going to do that or not. But Ronda having the belt again. And look, she's here for a year. She should be back with that belt again. She did the right thing by getting Liv over. She got a good rub, Liv Morgan did. And now she's going to be a very significant star in that women's division anyway. But now you're still kind of limited by who you have in that division that you could put up against Ronda. Which the only person I can think of is Shayna Baszler right now, and that's it. And maybe we're going to get to that point. And I hope we do. Match number 3, Karrion Kross over Drew McIntyre in a strap match. And with this match, this solidifies Karrion Kross as a star that matters more than he did in NXT. Scarlett is properly positioned. She is a throwback to the valets of old. I mean, Scarlett has the ability to... I would love to see if she gets to the level of a Sherry Martel or a woman, Nancy Benoit. I would love to see if she gets to that route. Or an Elizabeth, if you will. But in this heel role, Karrion Kross, it's obvious that they made a mistake. Vince made a mistake when they put him out like they did. But I guess they wanted to make sure he failed. They decided to make all the changes. And most importantly, Karrion Kross was not going to get over in this company without Scarlett. They're married. They have amazing chemistry together. They fit perfectly. It's the right move. So this group right here, and the way they use them so classic heel-like, where Scarlett was able to put the pepper spray, Drew McIntyre takes the loss, and now Drew and Karrion Kross are going to continue. This feud will continue. Let's see if one of them come out of it well. If Karrion Kross goes over Drew McIntyre and jump frogs over Drew McIntyre to get closer to Roman and the world title, the undisputed heavyweight titles, right? We could see that happen maybe at some route, but not right now. There's so much more that Karrion Kross has to do, but right now, this character, along with Scarlett, it's consistent, it's good. The whole entrance, everything they had before is here. But now I think what they're doing with them on the main roster is the right thing. And also, you limit the amount of Karrion Kross going out there. Like, obviously, he has some squash matches and things like that leading up to it, but where you finally got him and Drew together in the strap match, the way they set it up, especially the way they set it up on Friday night leading up to it, where you see Karrion Kross repeating the same thing. strapping Drew into a corner and then taking the rest of that leg of the strap and whipping Drew McIntyre and just going through that. Like, it was a very brutal match. The way they set it up, it was really good. Well, that said, Scarlett is the secret sauce to get Karrion Kross over. You have to have her as part of this. There's just no way about it. And it's going to help her. It's going to help him on the long run. It's a right couple, a good team. Just keep it going with them. And one thing I have to see with him, too, with Karrion Kross is it's fine to do these 1-2 minute vignettes going on. That's fine. But we need to see him doing something a little more significant. A little bit longer form, in a ring, or something else. But we need to see more of him developing the character. It's got to be, I mean, obviously there's some things you're adding to the character as we go along, but we need more time in front of the camera with him, in front of a microphone. We need more. This character's got to be fleshed out some more. And he's got to be very comfortable along with Scarlett to be out there. If they got to do some promos and really put some time out there to put over a feud, they need to do it. Or put over a program, put over a match, they got to do it. Has to happen. Bianca Belair against Bayley. And this is for the ladder match of the Raw Women's title. This match was fantastic. This was ridiculous, this match, but it was like Bianca Belair solidified over Bayley in this match. What a match. Excellent match of the night. Excellent match of this. I mean, I think I like this. I'll put it like this. Obviously, the Judgment Day and Edge, that had a great finish. The match was good, but also had a great finish to it. But Bianca and Bayley stood out to me a lot. Like, I thought they put a great match together. And with all things that were going on, you know that Asuka and Alexa were taken out for this match. So, like, what are you going to do next? And then they did it. And I'm like, they pulled it off, and it was really well done. Because Bianca was by herself. No help out there. And she overcame Damage Control by herself. It's a hell of a job they did. Gave him 16 minutes for this match. Excellent stuff. And with that, the ladder uses was very brutal. And then once you had Bianca heading up on the ladder, getting the KOD on Bayley, working your way up the first time, Damage Control comes out. And then the whole deal with another KOD on Dakota and Io Sky, a double, it looked good. And I know Bianca Belair struggled a little bit just to try to get her arms around to get the right move up. Like, her strength is amazing. Upper body strength is incredible. And then doing the thing with Bayley where she was able to use her hair to, slap and whip Bayley in the back to bring her off the ladder was also really good. But, man, that move when she did the KOD and Bayley's holding onto the ladder, that is not a safe move. And man, poor Bayley, I feel horrible for her. I don't know if it was her chin or her face, but she didn't look good after that match. I mean, I hope she didn't get some kind of concussion or something like that because she got hurt. And I don't know if anybody said anything about that yet, but she really looked like she got hurt. And I just felt bad to see that. But it was a hell of a job. Great match with these two. Really great match. Edge versus Finn Balor and the Judgment Day alongside. I Quit match. Finn under this the spiky Hellraiser type of mask. I'm not sure what to think about that. I mean, I get it. It's Finn coming out with a different look. I mean, it's just the mask. So, everybody's looking at it like, oh, wow. Ooh, oh, and everybody's like, epic entrance, epic heel entrance, Judgment Day. Oh, But when I look at Judgment Day, it's not Finn Balor and Damian Priest that do it for me. The star in the Judgment Day is Rhea Ripley. I mean, she fits so good in this group. She's mischievous. She's kind of childish. She's just very bully-like. And she's I don't know. I love the character she's brought up for herself. The whole Poppy thing with Dominic. She is getting to do some of the best work she's ever done. I like this better than anything she did at NXT, especially anything she did with Nikki ASH. This right here is great work by her. She's doing an excellent job in this Judgment Day. They gave her something great to work on here. She's basically manipulating Dominic Mysterio throughout. And Dominic, did a good job here with Ray. He's standing out in this whole thing. Like, those two are the ones that people care about in Judgment Day. It's not Priest. It's not Balor. I don't know what you do about that. I feel like Rhea Ripley should be the lead. Or that somehow she's the one that, like, takes control of the dominion of the Judgment Day. For me, it's like that. Because she just stands out so much better, so confident now. And what they make her do, like, she's getting the brass knucks on the Beth. Oh, and I'll get to the end of the match. But first off, Edge taking on Judgment Day has been good. And it's like, he finds his way to keep coming back, keeps coming back. But it's like Edge has to let the Judgment Day get over. It has to be done. And I'm glad he did it right. Like, honestly, he did. So there's going to be interference in the match, even though you had the match spill out all over the arena. They did all that. Ray and Beth did come in to try to help out Edge when they could. Everybody's hitting their finishers, and everybody's, getting up after them, which is like, I don't like that so much. Edge spearing Finn Balor 3 times, and, Finn Balor's able to go and pick Edge up or whatever it was, go back up on the ropes and do the 3 coup de grace himself. Like, I'm not buying that. Like, why are we not selling the finishers? Okay? There was that part. I didn't like that. There's things like that I didn't really care for. Or even when Edge had Finn Balor with the piece of the chair and he was submitting him, like, it's all this stuff where, like, where's Finn Balor kind of like slowing down? And then Damian Priest always getting smashed down and clothesline or whatever, and then all of a sudden he bounces right back. I don't get all that part. So that's that thing I didn't like too much about that part, but other than that, Edge submits because he was worried about Beth getting the concerto in great heel fashion. Rhea says, "You taught us too well." Smashes the concerto on Beth. That crowd is, so hot over Judgment Day. And people, it's like, it's not cool heat anymore. It's pure heel heat. So whatever they've done with Judgment Day, this thing with Edge and Beth, you absolutely made Judgment Day a full heel faction. That crowd's going to boo them now tomorrow like crazy. That match right there solidified Judgment Day. They conquered Edge. Who do they conquer next? And I don't want any more recruitment with AJ Styles and all this other stuff. Like, let's go somewhere else with this, okay? But Judgment Day went over big. That was good stuff. Works out well. And then we also had, Miz and Dexter Lumis continue to do their thing, and they used the Philly mascot, or whatever. And then we get to the Fight Pit match with Matt Riddle and Seth freaking Rollins, Daniel Cormier, special guest referee. Rollins in RVD gear. And Rollins channeling Seth freaking Rollins, best world, the whole freaking show. Wow. It was good. It was very good. These two did really good in this match. I think DC did pretty good in his role in the match. Anyway, you got Seth Rollins doing his thing, and both of these guys just working each other really well. 16 minutes for this match. And the way this worked out, Rollins takes the submission. Riddle wins. Maybe the feud is done. And then where do we go from there? Because honestly, like, you built this personal feud out so well. It was one of the matches with the best build so far, for sure. And this match, I think it did a pretty good job of kind of putting a kibosh and wrapping up this feud. To me, anyway. I don't think you have to go any more with this. But I think you just move Rollins and Riddle to something else. Somewhere else. I don't know what that's going to be. But I think you move them on the new programs. And I hope that's what's going to happen. And then we have Bray Wyatt coming in the mix. Overall, the show was good. Like I said, Liv Morgan, she struggled tonight. And you can play off of that. I mean, it was a bad match. I don't think that's indicative of her whole run so far. That doesn't take away anything that she's already done so far in her run as champion. I think she's going to still stand out, and people are really much over her now, are really into her, and she's definitely over more than before. So for me, you got Liv Morgan over. You accomplished that. But she's still young enough that she needs to go ahead and, see that she's going to have a bad match, and on a pay-per-view, that didn't look good. And if Vince saw that, he probably would kind of like demote her and kind of punish her for that. What is Triple H going to do now? Given that. Like, where do they go with her next? There's a lot more we could talk about with all this. And like I said, they just took a good chunk of what they're going on right now. Next up, end of the month, we have Crown Jewel, Logan Paul, Roman Reigns. Maybe Liv and Ronda will rematch. And then who knows what we go for this next. But there's a whole lot left to look at. But things are good. And Bray Wyatt really put a bright light of hope that the main event's going to build himself out. You got a few pieces now to work off of. But ultimately, Cody, Rollins, Bray should be working themselves to be at the level of Roman Reigns and the Bloodline right now. That's what we need. Another main event storyline that'll counter for Raw and can be sandwiched throughout to keep people interested. Because honestly, the Bloodline's working. People are watching that show. They're interested. And it's doing something. I don't know if they said anything about the ratings as of yet and what it did for SmackDown. It did top 2.117 million viewers. So it's still holding up. And that's what the Bloodline storyline continue to be a part of everything that's going on over there. With Gunther and Sheamus closing out the night. That's pretty good for what they were doing. Overall, I like where they're going with things. And look, they didn't even have Bloodline on this show. And it still stood out. That's good for a show like this. But when you get to Royal Rumble, when you get to WrestleMania, when you get to that WrestleMania season, you need Bray Wyatt on all cylinders functioning at that main event level. That's the focus. That's what they need to be doing going forward. Okay, that's it for me for this show. We'll come back on Wednesday. I'll do another show like this. And like I said, if you didn't have the chance to catch it, I did a Bound for Glory post show because that was on this week. And I wanted to go ahead and put it on as a separate show as opposed to latching it onto this. So if you haven't had a chance to hear that yet, please do so. It's all at WrestlingIsReal.com. So come back this Wednesday for another Wrestling Is Real podcast because wrestling needs us. Thank you for listening to the Wrestling Is Real podcast. You can find all previous episodes at WrestlingIsReal.com or subscribe to the show on all major podcast outlets, including Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Follow the King of Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at King of Podcasts. And search King of Podcasts on YouTube or type youtube.com/JBRASCO951. This has been a presentation of the King of Podcasts Radio Network.